Welcome back to Etheria Restart. Today I'm here with Hermes and we are breaking down Rilmocha, one of the first SSRs that I got on my account and one that we were both very excited to grab once we got her in our polls. We're going to be taking you through her details, her skills, her modules, her shell, and then even a little bit in some arena as well. Plus we'll give you some guidance on where she should be played. Hermes, what's up, man? I'm excited to talk about Rilmocha.
Hey man, when you pulled her on your account, I was so excited because you were asking me, you were like, well, I mean, I know, like, it's like, I know some of your chat got a little hyped about it when you pulled her on stream. And
Yep.
I was like, yeah, dude, like, this is like a crazy good pull, like a great damage dealer to have early on in the game. And she really is that. I mean, the Doki Doki Queen is what Ramoka is.
I love that, man. And I love damage dealers in all of these turn-based strategy games. I'm just a sucker for damage dealers, although I know it's not the only thing that's important. It's just something that I always do enjoy. Before we go any further, though, I need to thank Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video and remind all of you guys, if you've never played the game, check out Etheria Restart. You have a QR code here or a link in the description, and when you download the game for the first time, it gets you 10 free pulls, and maybe Rilmocha could be in one of those pulls if you're very lucky like we were. All right, man, let's start going through her details. Let's take a look at her skills to start.
Yeah. So honestly, Ramoka is underwhelming until you get to A3. So we'll save that one for last. So we'll just start
Okay,
with her A1. Her
you got it.
A1 is it's it's all right. I mean, so it has a possibility to put a speed down, and then as you upgrade it, you increase the chance of the speed down. You also increase the duration of that debuff. But the
Mhm.
thing with Ramoka is that honestly, it's not worth it. Like it's you can get debuffers that will put down that speed decrease, that it's not worth that A1 chance. She just is not worth the lattice to put into her A1. So this really isn't going to do a whole lot. I mean, you're building her for damage, so it's going to do damage, but the multiplier is nothing crazy. It just, it's a damage dealing ability. That's about it.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about a lot here on the channel as well, that you have to worry about your lattice and where you're going to be putting them because you're just not going to most likely have enough, unless if you're a big spender, to put your lattice into all of your animus. So I love how when you break things down, you let us know which skills we should be focused on and which ones we can kind of ignore. And an A1, at least right now at this stage of the game, is one that we could ignore for Romoka. How about her A2, Desert Time, or Dessert Time?
Her A2 is all right. I mean, it's an AoE damage dealing ability, and so that does pretty well. She has an opportunity to do additional damage as things go through, but overall, it's an all right ability, nothing too crazy.
That's it.
Just
That's all you
again,
got on
an
it there,
AoE
huh?
attack.
That's all you got on it. Okay, cool. So I guess we should jump into the A3 because single damage, we have it up to a level 5 on the account. Let us know why this one is the jam.
So this is where Romoka makes her money. And this is the big thing. Like it seems like I gave such short descriptions of her first two skills,
Mhm.
and that's because they're only worth short descriptions because they're nothing compared to this ability. This is a huge ability. So the way that it reads is as a single target damage. What it does is it inflicts 3 hits onto a single target. Now, the thing that makes this one good is that it has splash damage. So what it will do on base is it has a opportunity to inflict stun, a 75% chance on that initial target, which is great. I mean, very high chance to inflict stun. That's awesome.
Yep.
But that splash damage, when it does not kill an enemy, it inflicts 30% of that splash damage or 33% of that splash damage onto all other enemies. So what that means is that if Ramoka does a hit worth 100k, like worth of damage, which is a very high number, she would then do 33k to all other enemies on that team. And that in of itself is pretty good damage, right?
Sure is.
But what really makes this ability good is that whenever she kills that enemy, she deals 100% of that damage to all their enemies. So let's say the enemy only has 75k HP. She does 100k to that enemy. She will then do 100k to all other enemies on the team, and she will bypass any damage reducing passives or anything else like that. It just does straight up splash damage. No crits, no crit damage involved, just straight up 100k. And that's big because if all enemies on the other team have 75k HP or less, or even 99k HP or less, the entire team gets wiped from one hit.
Yeah. That's insane. I mean, it's funny because when you take a look at the regular attack, single damage, you think it's going to be single target, but really that splash damage effect is something that we're not used to seeing, and super powerful. I think you outlined it really well there on how this is working, and very clear that this is the one that the lattice is going to be dropped into. Let's take a look at her modules really quickly. How did you like to how do you like to build her out? I mean, it's fairly straightforward, or what do you like here?
So again, damage is all that she's about, right? So
Hmm.
her big thing is just another one of those damage dealers. For you and your account, I mean, we've talked about this before. You have not had the best luck on rolling your gear. I mean, maybe sometime you should like do a video just talking about rolling gear, and
Yeah.
maybe then since it'll be on video, you'll be able to get a little bit better rolls. But I know that you have had some real difficulty rolling gear, and so Harvest and that onslaught have really been the ones that you've been able to get good pieces in. So that's what
Hmm.
you use, right? That
Yeah.
ability to ignore defense on that harvest set is really valuable, especially for a animus like Rilmocha that does a bunch of damage on a single target, and then that gets splashed. That 30% ignore defense goes from that one target and then gets applied to all the other ones because of the splash, right? It doesn't get directly applied, but because it gets applied on the one and it ignores that defense, that same damage then gets applied to all the other ones. And that's really big. And Onslaught, just a bunch of extra attack, right?
Yep. So what are some of the stats that you like to see on a Rilmocha or one of your damage dealers? If someone's looking to put the build together and they're wondering, how much speed, what kind of attack or crit are they looking for? What are some numbers that you can kind of drop as guidelines for players?
So, as far as speed goes, I think speed is obviously a key factor to have. Your speed, you want it to be a reasonable level. So, right now, yours is at sitting around 180, 185 speed.
Hmm.
And I think for you, that's a little slow where you're pushing, which is Hell and Inferno difficulties. But the thing is that you have a Lily on your account. So that kind of makes up for all the difference in speed that you need. What people really want to look for is you want to build probably well over 200 and then have a speed booster or have a Lily on your team, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you don't have a Lily, use someone like a Freya, Chiaki the Echo. Options like that are really good to use and pair with Rilmocha whenever you don't have that Lily opportunity to get a bunch of turn meter and speed boosting. When it comes to her modules, on the right hand pieces, those are the really important ones. It's really big to go crit rate, crit damage. You want to make sure that you're crit capping her and that you're also getting a lot of crit damage. What's nice about Doki Doki is that she has that affinity matchup bonus, so she gets an additional 15% crit rate applied when attacking those enemies in that battle. So in reality, you only have to build her with 85% crit rate to have 100% crit rate attacks against enemies, and then you're just applying a bunch of attack and crit damage to her build to make sure that she can hit hard enough to kill those enemies.
All right, so really, it's a lot of the standard things that you want for a damage dealer. You obviously want speed, and you want to get crit rate and crit damage as high as you can, essentially, and then just focus in on attack. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean it's a very basic damage dealer as far as the build goes, but
Yeah.
the ability that she has is so unique that makes her so powerful in Doki Doki.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. All right, let's talk about her shell really quickly. Are there any shells that you particularly like here? Obviously, you can see we're using White Fang. We got that crit damage up. Is what's the reason that you like White Fang? Are there any others that you would recommend I use? Where do you feel?
So the reason why you're using White Fang like that I like having White Fang there is simply because you've already built it out. Like when you have a White Fang, it's one of the ones you build, from Nico Nana. So that's really going to be the one you build early on. As far as that mythical, you've got some pretty good subs or some, I guess, was that sub bonuses or passive effects on your White Fang, which is nice.
Hmm.
I would say a really good option to use on a for Romoka in Doki Doki is a Count. And it gives an additional I think it's 700 or maybe close to 1,000 attack bonus. And that really helps her smack a lot harder and get those hits in that she really needs to amplify that damage and nuke those waves.
All right, that makes a lot of sense, and I like that you're being very honest as to why. When you have a shell built out that has some nice passive effects, sometimes you just want to throw them on to get those stats on to the champion. Why don't we put our girl here to the test and see how she could do at least in the arena? All right, so we'll get into a challenge right here. And looks like we're going to choose our opponent. We got her right here. Let's get into the battle. And kind of, I guess, display. But why do you want me to show her in the arena if you keep on talking about Doki Doki?
So the reason why she's good to showcase in arena is because these battles are so quick, and you kind of get to see that really fast ability that she has to go in and this quick nuking ability. Doki Doki runs until you get a really beefed up and a super beefcake on your Rilmocha are going to take a hot minute to get through. So that's just, we don't want to put the viewers through that, right? We want to give them something that's a little more exciting to watch and see that splash damage come in and just wipe teams out, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what this is all about.
I mean, that was a clear demonstration of it right there. She went with the single target, then went with the splash. We'll go right here again. We'll get into another challenge and kind of see how that works again. But yeah, it's really nice to, first of all, it's nice to have you break it down, and then it's really nice to actually watch it in action as we have a full, deeper understanding of what the Animus is actually, what her strengths are. So I appreciate the breakdown, man.
Yeah, and honestly, like Rilmocha isn't one of the best to put in an arena battle, especially in RTA, just because she is not like not a top level damage dealer. But when you have her built out, like on your account, you haven't built, you don't have a Messiah, so you're not built out a Messiah. When you have someone like a Rilmocha, you're going to use what you got. And she is great, especially at farming really fast fights because of how much damage she does and how fast your Lily is. You kind of outspeed, boost up, and then you just nuke them all.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And as we've seen 2 times, probably about 3 times in a row right now, she works really well. So thanks for coming through, Hermes, and breaking down Rilmocha for us today. Hopefully a lot of you guys out there have her in place and actually can put her into play. Again, we want to thank Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video. And if you haven't played the game and you've now been enthused to download the game and play it, use my code, get yourself 10 free pulls. Maybe you'll pull in Rilmocha. Oh, she didn't get it that time. Did you notice that?
So the reason why is you're going against a opponent with a Valerie, which Valerie, however you say her name. I think we just did a showcase on her recently, or maybe we are about to soon, but that's just that cheat death mechanic.
Yep.
It's no problem. Lily will come through, reset her, and you got no issues coming through again.
No, we're going to be perfectly fine. That was the first demonstration that we showed here where she didn't get the kill and then do that 100% damage to the rest of the team. So I just wanted to point it out. But I want to see how this one plays out before we get out of here for the day. We already know that it's going to be a victory for us, but I want to see that final shot come into play. So how do you...
Yeah, so the biggest thing...
Yep.
Oh, so I was just going to say the biggest thing that's going to happen right now, it is going to take a little bit longer because she's going to cycle her A3 again. But because that cheat death mechanic was put up again, she's not actually going to get that kill through again, but she's going to get a lot closer. And then she'll come in with her AoE and she'll take everybody else out. But you see how close she is? Yeah. And see, now that White Fang is really, just takes out care of the job, which is nice about White Fang is he comes through after the fact in those arena battles and really takes things out.
It's just nice to watch, man. I absolutely love Arena. It's my favorite part of turn-based strategy. Thanks so much for coming through. I appreciate the breakdown. Hope everyone has a good time building out their Rilmocha and taking her into battles as well. Have a great day, guys.